Hi, Teasel time. So I know that the past week before we were off of school that you guys were all working on decorating our classroom for St. Patrick's Day and hoping that a leprechaun would visit. But unfortunately, we never got to see because we had to stay home and we had to close the center. But I found a book in the classroom that I don't think was there before. Have you guys seen this book? It's called Leprechauns in Late Winter. It's one of the Magic Tree House books. So I'm thinking either this came out of nowhere or we had a little green friend who stopped by and dropped this off. So I don't know. I've never read it, but I don't think you guys have either. So I'm going to read a couple chapters a day and we can see if we like it. All right? So again, this is called Leprechaun in Late Winter by Mary Pope Osborne. Okay. Prologue. One summer day in Frog Creek, Pennsylvania, a mysterious treehouse appeared in the woods. A brother and a sister named Jack and Annie soon learned that the treehouse was magic. It could take them to any time and any place in history. They also learned that the treehouse belonged to Morgan Le Fay, a magical librarian from the legendary realm of Camelot. After Jack and Annie traveled on many adventures for Morgan, Merlin the magician began sending them on special Merlin missions in the treehouse. With help from two young sorcerers named Teddy and Kathleen, Jack and Annie traveled to places both mythical and real to do Merlin's bidding. On their most recent missions, Jack and Annie found 4 secrets of happiness to help Merlin when he was in trouble. Now, Merlin wants Jack and Annie to bring happiness to others by helping 4 creative people give their special gifts to the world. They have already helped the first 2, and now they are on their way to find the third. Chapter 1, A Beautiful Word. It was a chilly afternoon in late winter. Annie was doing her homework on the computer in the living room. Jack sat on the couch and stared at a blank page in his small notebook. He heaved a sigh. "What's wrong?" said Annie. "I have to write a story for school," said Jack, "and I'm stuck." "Well, you better get unstuck," said Annie. "Mom and Dad said we have to have our homework done tonight so we can go to the movie theater with them tonight." "I know," said Jack, "but I can't think of anything to write about." "Why don't you do what you love to do?" said Annie. "Go outside and write down some facts about what you see, then turn them into a story." "Hey, that's a good idea," said Jack. "Thanks." He jumped up and grabbed his coat from the hall closet. Then, taking his pen and notebook with him, he headed outside. The early March weather was sunny but cold and windy. Jack looked around and then he wrote down some facts in his notebook. Snow in yard, sun sparkling on sidewalk. Jack looked up again. The treetops were swaying in the March winds. Jack started to write about them, but then he looked down at his notebook and he nearly dropped his pencil. On the page were 2 large, fancy cursive letters. T.K. "Oh, man," whispered Jack. He dashed back into the house and into the living room. "Annie, look!" He held up his notebook. "Look at this." Annie stared at the page. Snow, sun, nice. "No, not that," said Jack. "The letters." Annie looked at Jack like he was a little crazy. What letters?" she said. Jack looked back at the page. "They're gone," he said. "A big, fancy cursive, T and K." "T and K?" said Annie. "Yes, for Teddy and Kathleen," said Jack. "The letters just appeared on the page when I was outside. They really were." "I believe you," said Annie, and she jumped up from the computer. "Let's go." "Wait, I have to go upstairs and get my backpack," said Jack. "Forget it, come on. The treehouse must be waiting for us," said Annie. Okay, said Jack, and he quickly shoved his notebook and pen into a pocket of his coat. Annie grabbed her jacket. "Mom, Dad, we're going to take a little break from our homework," she called. "All right, but make it short. We have to leave for the movie by 7, their dad called from the kitchen. "We will," said Jack. Jack and Annie headed outside. They ran over the melting snow in the front yard and up the sun-sparkling sidewalk. They charged across the street and into the Frog Creek woods. They hurried between the wind-blown trees until they came to the tallest oak. High in the branches was the magic tree house. Their friends from Camelot, Teddy and Kathleen, were looking out the window. "Hello," said Kathleen. "Hi," said Annie, waving. "Good trick with the magic letters," Jack said. "We thought you'd like that," said Teddy. "I just learned how to do it." Annie grabbed the rope ladder and started climbing up, and Jack followed her. They climbed into the treehouse and hugged their young enchanters. "So what's up today?" said Jack. "Where does Merlin want us to go now?" asked Annie. "Merlin wants us to go to Galway, Ireland," said Kathleen. "Ireland? Cool," said Annie. "Morgan sent us to Ireland once before, to the 9th century," said Jack. "Yes. Well, this time you will go to Ireland in the 19th century. To 1862 to be exact. Your mission is to find an imaginative and creative girl named Augusta." "Augusta doesn't know yet what her talents are," said Kathleen. "She lives in a time when it is not easy for girls to explore their creativity. Your mission will be to inspire her so she can give her gifts to the world." "What does that word mean exactly?" asked Annie. "Inspire?" "It's a beautiful word," said Kathleen, her blue eyes shining. "It means to breathe life into a person's heart and to make her feel joyful to be alive." "That is beautiful," said Annie. "You may need some magic to help you," said Teddy. From the corner of the treehouse, he picked up the magic trumpet that had helped them on their last journey. Only this time, Teddy handed the trumpet to Kathleen. She held the tiny brass instrument for a moment, and then she tossed it up into the air, and the trumpet spun like a whirlwind. There was a flash of blue light, and the trumpet was gone. In its place was a thin silver pipe with 6 holes. "What's that?" breathed Jack. "It's an Irish whistle," said Kathleen. She plucked the instrument from the air. "When you face great danger, one of you must play it, and it will make magical music, and anything the other one sings will come true." "But remember," said Teddy, "its magic will only work once." "Right," said Annie. "Thanks," said Jack, and he took the Irish whistle from Kathleen and he put it into his pocket. "And did Morgan send a research book to give us information?" "Not this time," said Teddy. "Morgan wants you to draw upon your own experiences in life to help you on this journey." "No problem," said Annie. Jack wasn't sure about that. He liked having a book of facts to help them on their journeys. "So how do we find Augusta?" said Annie. "It should be easy to find her," said Teddy. "When you land in the country of Galway, Ireland, just ask anyone for directions to the big house." "Hold on," said Jack, and he pulled out his notebook and he wrote, "Country of Galway, Ireland, Augusta, big house." "Got it," said Jack. "But how do we get to Ireland in the first place if we don't have a research book?" "Point to the notes you just made and make your wish," said Kathleen. "And when you are ready to come home," said Teddy, "use the Pennsylvania book that you usually do." "Got it," said Jack. "Go now and help Augusta," said Kathleen. "She needs you." Jack pointed his finger to the words Galway, Ireland, written in his notebook. "I wish we could go there," he said. "Bye," said Annie. "Farewell," said Kathleen. "Good luck," said Teddy. The wind began to blow, and the treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster, then everything was still. Absolutely still.